in the heart of a bustling metropolis where the aspirations of humanity stretch upwards in towers of steel and glass, reaching for the heavens yet failing to touch the hearts of those who walk the concrete below, a profound event unfolds. This arrival is heralded not by the clamor of trumpets or the spectacle often reserved for kings, but with the subtlety of a whisper on the wind, a presence that is felt deep within the soul before it is ever seen. In a forgotten corner of the city, where shadows loom larger than the light, and the forgotten and forsaken seek solace in their anonymity, Jesus steps quietly into our world once more. His entrance into the modern age is devoid of grandeur. He wears the simple garb of a traveler, his feet dusted from his journey, embodying humility in a world that has long since equated greatness with power and opulence. Those who first lay eyes upon him do not see a figure of majesty, but a man whose eyes sparkle with the depths of compassion, whose demeanor disarms, and whose very presence brings a peace so profound it seems out of place amid the urban cacophony. The news of his arrival does not spread through the airwaves or viral videos, but in hushed tones among the city's most overlooked inhabitants. The homeless seeking shelter in the shadows of affluence, the overworked and underpaid who have become just another cog in the machine, and the wandering soul seeking purpose in a world that feels increasingly devoid of meaning. In the sprawling expanse of the city, where the relentless hum of activity never ceases, and the towering skyscrapers cast long shadows over the streets below, an extraordinary event quietly unfolds. Amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life, where each individual is engrossed in their own world of concerns and aspirations, he arrives, not with the grandeur one might expect of a king, but with the unassuming grace of a traveler. His arrival is as gentle as the first light of dawn, touching the world softly, yet with a promise of transformation. He walks among us, his presence marked not by royal fanfare, but by the dust of his journey, a testament to the miles traversed and the paths yet to be taken. His attire is simple, mirroring the humility with which he steps into the cacophony of urban life. To those who first lay eyes upon him, there is nothing outwardly remarkable, no halo of divinity to distinguish him from any other man. Yet there is something unmistakably different, an aura of peace that surrounds him, a depth of compassion in his gaze that speaks of a love profound and unending. This man, known to the world through countless tales and teachings, is Jesus, returned not in triumph but in tenderness, choosing to make his presence known in the most unassuming of places. The city, a nexus of human endeavor and struggle, becomes the backdrop for his arrival, a place where light and shadow intermingle, where hope and despair walk hand in hand. His first encounters are with those who dwell on the margins, the forgotten souls who have made their homes in the crevices of the city's grandeur, to the homeless seeking shelter in the anonymity of crowded streets, to the overworked and underpaid who wonder if their dreams have been lost in the pursuit of survival. He comes. His approach is gentle, a listening ear, a comforting word, a healing touch offered with a kindness that asks for nothing in return. Word of his presence spreads, not through the channels of power and prestige, but through the whispered conversations of those whose lives he has touched. Stories of a man who heals not just the body, but the soul, who speaks not of judgment, but of forgiveness, who offers not condemnation, but hope. In a world where the divine often feels distant, his presence is a reminder that love knows no boundaries, that grace is given freely, and that redemption is within reach. As he moves through the city, his path intersects with those of all walks of life, from the weary who have borne the weight of the world too long, to the cynical who have lost faith in the possibility of change. To each, he offers a glimpse of something more, a vision of life not as it is, but as it could be. In his eyes, they see themselves not as the world sees them, but as they are truly meant to be. Beloved, cherished, and part of a story much larger than themselves. As the news of his presence weaves through the city's arteries, a diverse tapestry of human emotion begins to unfold. The arrival of Jesus, a figure steeped in millennia of prophecy and expectation, stirs the hearts of the city's inhabitants in ways as varied as their lives, from the dimly lit alleyways where the forgotten seek solace, to the bustling cafes where the overworked find their brief respite. Whispers of a mysterious figure spread like ripples on water. In the spaces where hope seems a distant memory, his arrival kindles a fragile light. Among those who have been battered by life's storms, who have seen too much to believe in simple miracles, the stories of a man who heals with a touch and listens with an open heart ignite a cautious optimism. Could this be the turning point? A chance for the wounds of the past to be healed, for the chains of despair to be broken? Yet alongside hope, skepticism casts its long shadow. The city, with its relentless pace and its worship of the tangible, has little room for miracles. In boardrooms and bars, in classrooms and living rooms, debates erupt over the authenticity of the claims. How could a man walking the streets in humble attire be the bearer of change in a world so steeped in complexity and cynicism? For every tale of transformation, there are questions, doubts born of a society that has learned to look for the catch, to distrust the too good to be true. The skeptics are not without their reasons. The city has seen its share of false prophets and fleeting hopes. Many have come promising revolution, only to leave behind disillusionment. What makes this man different? Is he not just another dreamer in a world that has no patience for dreams? But Jesus does not seek to silence the skeptics with grand displays of power. Instead, he meets doubt with compassion, understanding the hardened hearts as he walks the streets. His miracles are not performed on grand stages, but in the quiet moments of connection with those he encounters. To the sick, he offers healing that speaks to a deeper longing for wholeness. To the weary, he offers rest that rejuvenates not just the body, but the soul. And to all, he offers a love that does not discriminate, does not falter, does not end. His message is simple yet revolutionary. A call to love one another, to find strength in vulnerability, to seek peace in a world of strife. It is a message that resonates with the core of what many have been searching for, a reminder of the power of human connection, of the beauty that can be found in compassion and empathy. As the stories of his deeds and words spread, the city finds itself at a crossroads. For some, Jesus represents a beacon of hope, a chance to believe in the possibility of a better world. For others, he is a puzzle, a challenge to the status quo, a question mark against the backdrop of their lives. In the relentless rhythm of city life, where the days blend into one another and the nights offer scant reprieve, the acts of a single individual begin to carve out spaces of sanctuary and healing. Jesus, moving through the city's veins, becomes a conduit for change, one compassionate act at a time. His journey is not marked by grandiose declarations or sweeping reforms, but by moments of profound personal connection that ripple outward, touching lives and transforming hearts. The city, a mosaic of human experience, presents endless opportunities for kindness. In the shadowed corners, where the destitute and the downtrodden find their refuge, Jesus extends his hand, not in pity, but in solidarity. His miracles, though quiet, speak volumes to those who have been rendered invisible by the bustling masses. A touch, a word, a glance. These are the tools with which he works, each gesture imbued with a love so deep it reaches into the very marrow of their existence. To the sick, he offers healing that transcends the physical ailments that plague them. It is not just the symptoms he addresses, but the underlying despair, the isolation, and the fear that accompany illness. His presence brings solace, a reminder that they are not alone in their suffering, that their pain is seen and acknowledged. For the weary, those burdened by the weight of their responsibilities and the unrelenting pressure to succeed, he offers a different kind of rest. It is a pause in the chaos, a moment of peace in which they can lay down their burdens and breathe. In his eyes, they find understanding, an acknowledgement of their struggles, and an invitation to find rest for their souls. But his acts of compassion extend beyond the individual, challenging the very fabric of society. In a world that measures success by wealth and power, his teachings of love and humility stand in stark contrast. He speaks of a kingdom not built on domination and greed, but on service and sacrifice. His message is radical, a call to rethink what it means to be successful, to be powerful, to be human. The impact of his presence begins to be felt across the city. Stories of his kindness spread, igniting conversations in homes, workplaces, and places of worship. Skeptics and believers alike are forced to confront the evidence of his love, manifested in the lives of those he has touched. The question on everyone's lips is not just, who is this man? But what does his presence mean for us, for our city, for our world? Chapter 3 delves into the heart of Jesus' mission in the modern world. It is a narrative that explores the transformative power of compassion in a society often characterized by indifference and isolation. Through his actions, Jesus challenges the norms that govern our interactions, urging us to see beyond the superficial connections that dominate our digital age. He calls us to a deeper engagement with the world around us, to a recognition of the inherent worth of every individual, and to the realization that true strength lies in our capacity to love and to serve. In a city caught up in the frenzy of progress and productivity, his acts of compassion serve as a beacon, illuminating the path to a more humane, more compassionate way of living. It is a chapter that invites the listener to reflect on their own place in the tapestry of city life, to consider the ways in which they can contribute to a culture of kindness and empathy, and to embrace the possibility of change, one act of compassion at a time. As Jesus' journey through the city unfolds, his presence becomes a mirror, reflecting the divine into the daily lives of its inhabitants. Amid the steel and concrete, the rush and noise, his actions and words serve as a gentle yet profound reminder of the divine essence that underlies all existence. This chapter delves into how his simple yet transformative interactions rekindle a sense of wonder and spirituality in a world often dominated by the secular and mundane. In the bustling markets and quiet neighborhoods, among the young and the old, the rich and the poor, Jesus' teachings resonate with a timeless truth. He speaks of love as the greatest commandment, a force capable of transcending boundaries and transforming lives. His message is not one of withdrawal from the world, but of deeper engagement with it, recognizing the sacred in the ordinary, the spiritual in the everyday. Through parables and conversations, Jesus addresses the complexities of modern life, offering wisdom that cuts through the noise and haste. He speaks of the kingdom of God, not as a distant realm, but as a reality that unfolds in the here and now, whenever people come together in compassion, whenever justice is pursued, whenever peace is chosen over conflict. His presence challenges the city's inhabitants to see beyond their immediate concerns and ambitions, to question the values that drive their pursuits, in a society where success is often measured by material gain. Jesus' teachings offer a stark contrast, a call to find richness in relationships, fulfillment in service, and wealth in generosity. The impact of his message begins to ripple through the community, stirring hearts and minds. People from all walks of life find themselves drawn to his vision of a world governed by love. Conversations sparked by his teachings lead to reflections on personal and societal values, on the ways in which the divine can be honored through acts of kindness, justice, and humility. Yet his reminder of the divine is not met without resistance. In a world wary of absolutes, the clarity of his message is both a beacon and a challenge. For some, it is a call to awaken from the slumber of complacency, to live with greater purpose and intention. For others, it is a confrontation with the foundations upon which they have built their lives, prompting discomfort and even denial. As Jesus' journey through the city continues, his path intersects with a kaleidoscope of human stories, each encounter weaving a new thread into the fabric of the city's narrative. These interactions, though fleeting, leave an indelible mark on those he meets, challenging their perceptions and inviting them to see the world through a lens of compassion and empathy. One such encounter occurs on a crowded street corner, where the hustle of daily life creates a cacophony of sights and sounds. Here, Jesus meets a man blinded not only by physical ailment, but by the darkness of isolation. With a gentle touch and a few whispered words, "Your faith has made you well," he restores the man's sight. But this miracle is more than the healing of physical blindness. It's a restoration of hope, a reminder that no one is ever truly unseen in the eyes of love. In a city park, under the shade of ancient trees that stand as silent witnesses to the passage of time, Jesus gathers a diverse crowd. People from all walks of life, drawn by a hunger for something they can't quite name, find themselves sitting side by side. To them, he speaks of love and forgiveness, using modern parables that resonate with their experiences. He talks of a network, not of computers, but of hearts connected by compassion, a web of kindness that can support the most vulnerable among them. One parable tells of a young girl lost in the digital wilderness of social media, searching for genuine connection. Through her story, Jesus reveals how true companionship is found not in the quantity of likes or followers, but in the quality of real compassionate interactions. "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God," he concludes, reminding his listeners that purity of intention and sincerity in relationships reveal the divine in the midst of the mundane. Another story unfolds about a businessman trapped in a cycle of greed who dreams one night of a world where wealth is measured not in currency, but in acts of kindness. Upon waking, the man begins to use his resources to benefit others, discovering that the true treasure lies in giving, not receiving. "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also," Jesus explains, challenging those gathered to consider what they value most. Through these parables and his interactions with the people of the city, Jesus addresses the complexities of contemporary life. His teachings cut through the noise of everyday existence, pointing to the unchanging truths that bind humanity together across ages. He visits schools, hospitals, and even corporate boardrooms, spreading his message of love, compassion, and justice. The impact of his presence in the city grows as stories of his deeds and words spread. These are not just tales to be told, but seeds of change, inspiring acts of kindness, and a new way of seeing the world among the people he encounters. His message is clear: love one another as I have loved you. In a world where the digital and the tangible intertwine, Jesus' teachings adapt to bridge centuries and resonate with the contemporary soul. Chapter 6 delves into the heart of his message, unfolding through parables that mirror the complexities of modern life, yet underscore timeless truths of love, connection, and purpose. In a bustling city alive with the glow of screens and the buzz of notifications, Jesus shares the story of the digital Samaritan. This tale begins with a young woman overwhelmed by the cacophony of social media who stumbles upon a thread of online vitriol aimed at a stranger. Where many scroll past, she pauses, reaching out with words of kindness and support, bridging the digital divide with empathy. Jesus uses this story to illustrate the power of compassion in an interconnected world, where acts of kindness can transcend physical boundaries and touch lives across the digital expanse. Blessed are the peacemakers, he reminds his audience, for they shall be called the children of God, urging a reevaluation of how we interact within the digital landscape that dominates so much of modern life. Another parable tells of a person who loses their phone, a lifeline to their world of work, family, and social connections. In their frantic search, they encounter individuals from different walks of life. Some ignore their plight, others exploit it, but one, a stranger with nothing to gain, offers help. This stranger's act of selflessness in aiding the search, expecting nothing in return, serves as a metaphor for the search for meaning in a material-driven existence. Jesus concludes, "For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul?" challenging listeners to consider the true value of their pursuits and the importance of kindness and generosity. Jesus weaves a narrative about a virtual vineyard, a community project where individuals from around the globe collaborate to cultivate a digital garden. Each contributor brings their unique skills and perspectives, working together to create something beautiful and sustainable. Through this parable, Jesus illustrates the concept of collective effort and mutual support, highlighting the potential for technology to unite people in pursuit of common goals. "I am the vine, you are the branches," he explains, drawing parallels to the interconnectedness of all people and the importance of nurturing relationships and community, both online and off. Through these modern parables, Jesus addresses the challenges and opportunities presented by the digital age. He speaks to the isolation that can come from virtual connections, the superficiality of online personas, and the potential for divisiveness in digital discourse. Yet, he also highlights the capacity for genuine community, the potential for altruism, and the power of collective action that technology enables. As Jesus' journey through the modern city unfolds, his interactions and teachings coalesce into a powerful call to love and action, resonating deeply with those yearning for change. This chapter explores the culmination of his message, a clarion call that challenges individuals and society to transcend the superficial and embrace a deeper, more meaningful way of living. In a world saturated with curated images and personas, Jesus challenges the notion of authenticity. He encounters individuals obsessed with presenting a flawless facade to the world, neglecting their true selves in the process. Through conversations and parables, he emphasizes the beauty of imperfection and the strength found in vulnerability. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth, he proclaims, encouraging a reevaluation of what it means to be genuinely strong and successful. Amidst the bustling city life, where individualism often trumps collective well-being, Jesus underscores the importance of community. He gathers people from diverse backgrounds, demonstrating through his actions and words how unity and support can foster resilience and growth. He speaks of a society where individuals look beyond their immediate concerns to the needs of their neighbors, where acts of kindness ripple outward, creating a network of care and compassion. Love your neighbor as yourself, he reminds them, urging a shift from isolation to interconnectedness. As he navigates the concrete jungle of the city, Jesus also addresses the environmental crisis, drawing attention to humanity's role in the stewardship of the earth. Through parables of gardens and natural beauty overshadowed by neglect and exploitation, he calls for a renewed respect for the planet. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied, he declares, advocating for actions that protect and preserve the environment for future generations. In a society marked by division and injustice, Jesus' teachings offer a vision of peace and equity. He stands with the marginalized, lending his voice to their struggles and offering hope for a more just world. His message challenges the status quo, calling for a reimagining of power structures and the dismantling of systems that perpetuate inequality. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God, he affirms, highlighting the role of each individual in fostering harmony and justice. As the narrative of Jesus' journey through the modern city draws to a close, the impact of his presence and teachings begins to crystallize into a legacy of transformation. This chapter reflects on the profound changes sparked by his time among the city's inhabitants, exploring how individual lives and the broader community have been altered by the experience of encountering his message of love, compassion, and justice. The stories of those who encountered Jesus, whether they were healed, comforted, or simply listened to, serve as the initial ripples that expand across the city's social fabric. These individuals, touched by his compassion, begin to embody the change he preached, affecting their families, workplaces, and communities. Acts of kindness and understanding become more frequent, conversations about meaningful change more common, and a sense of shared humanity more palpable. The legacy of transformation is seen in the small, everyday actions that collectively shift the culture of the city towards greater empathy and unity. Beyond individual transformation, entire communities begin to reevaluate their values and practices in light of Jesus' teachings. Neighborhoods once marked by division and neglect start initiatives aimed at inclusivity and mutual support, inspired by the parables and principles he shared. Environmental stewardship. Initiatives gain momentum as citizens recognize their role in caring for the planet as a sacred trust. The vision of a society where love and justice prevail inspires a new wave of civic engagement, with people of all ages and backgrounds coming together to address the challenges facing their city. Jesus' presence in the modern world sparks a renewed dialogue on the relationship between faith and action. Religious communities find themselves challenged to move beyond doctrine and ritual to the active embodiment of their beliefs in the service of others. Interfaith collaborations emerge, focusing on shared values of compassion and service, demonstrating that love transcends theological differences. The conversation extends into the digital realm, where blogs, podcasts, and social media platforms become venues for exploring how ancient wisdom can guide contemporary life. As Jesus prepares to depart from the city, he leaves behind not just a series of memories, but an enduring promise of hope. His final messages reiterate the potential for redemption and renewal, assuring those he leaves behind that the path to a better world is within their grasp. The promise of the Holy Spirit, a comforter to guide and empower them, ensures that his departure is not an end, but a continuation of the work begun during his time among them. As the narrative of Jesus' journey through the modern city draws to a close, the impact of his presence and teachings begins to crystallize into a legacy of transformation. This chapter explores the profound changes that have taken root in the hearts of individuals and across the community, painting a picture of a city and a world forever altered by his message of love, compassion, and justice. The stories of those touched by Jesus' compassion and wisdom have spread far beyond their initial encounters, creating a ripple effect that touches countless lives. Individuals who once felt isolated and hopeless now find themselves part of a burgeoning community committed to living out the principles he taught. Acts of kindness, once rare, become commonplace as the city's inhabitants embrace a new way of interacting with one another, grounded in empathy and understanding. The teachings of Jesus have prompted a profound reevaluation of societal values. In boardrooms and classrooms, in government halls and neighborhood gatherings, conversations turn towards the importance of integrity, generosity, and stewardship. The pursuit of wealth and status, once the driving force for many, is now weighed against the pursuit of a meaningful life that contributes to the well-being of others. This shift in values is not without its challenges, but it opens the door to a more sustainable and equitable future. Inspired by Jesus' example, diverse groups across the city unite to address pressing social and environmental issues. Food banks, cleanup initiatives, and community gardens flourish, while advocacy groups work tirelessly to effect policy changes that reflect a commitment to justice and peace. These communities of action are testament to the enduring power of Jesus' message, demonstrating that change is possible when individuals come together with a common purpose. The legacy of Jesus' time in the modern world is a new narrative for humanity, one that emphasizes our interconnectedness and shared responsibility for the planet and each other. This narrative challenges the cynicism and despair that once pervaded the city, offering instead a vision of hope and possibility. It is a story that continues to unfold, as each person inspired by his teachings becomes a co-author of the ongoing transformation. As the narrative of Jesus' journey through the modern city concludes, the focus shifts to the path forward, a continuation of the transformative legacy he has ignited. This final chapter serves as both a reflection on the lessons learned and a guidepost for the journey ahead, emphasizing the individual and collective responsibility to carry forward the momentum of change. The first step on the path forward is a deep, personal embrace of the message Jesus shared. This involves not just intellectual acceptance, but a heartfelt commitment to live out the values of love, compassion, and justice in daily life. It's about seeing every interaction, every decision as an opportunity to reflect these principles, transforming the mundane into the sacred. Jesus' time in the city showcased the power of community, how collective action, grounded in shared values, can create pockets of hope and change. Moving forward, the challenge is to build and expand these communities, to create networks of support and action that transcend geographical and ideological boundaries. This means reaching out, breaking down walls of division, and finding common ground in the pursuit of a better world. A significant part of the path forward is stewardship of the planet, of resources, and of each other. Jesus' teachings highlighted the interconnectedness of all life and the responsibility to care for the earth as a sacred trust. This calls for a shift in how resources are used and distributed, advocating for policies and practices that prioritize sustainability and equity. The legacy of transformation includes a mandate to advocate for justice in all its forms: social, economic, environmental. This involves not only charity, but also challenging the structures and systems that perpetuate inequality and oppression. It's about using one's voice, vote, and influence to create change, standing in solidarity with those who are marginalized and working tirelessly for a world where justice prevails. In a world increasingly shaped by technology, the path forward also involves navigating the digital landscape with integrity and purpose. This means using digital platforms not just for connection, but for the promotion of positive change, spreading messages of hope and action, and mobilizing communities around causes that matter. At the heart of the path forward is the journey of personal transformation. This journey is unique for each individual, shaped by their experiences, challenges, and aspirations. It's a process of continual growth, learning, and reflection, inspired by Jesus' example and teachings. It involves asking tough questions, facing one's own shortcomings, and striving each day to be a better reflection of the values espoused.